Hi again. I am Fathom, the founder of Other Fiber Creations. Today, it is Friday, August 25th, 2023. That is the day I am filming this. And normally, I don't bother pointing out what day it is to you guys. Like, hydrate or hydrate. I normally just kind of leave it vague so I can post videos whenever I need to, which is every Saturday at noon. But today, I'm filming with a date in it for a very specific reason. I have a bit of a problem. So I live with my roommate and her cat, and I'm allergic to cats, so I keep all of my yarn out of any common living area unless it is something that I can keep safe from the cat. This means that my room is not just my room, it is also my office. I have a massive yarn stash. I currently have up in my room a 6 foot by, I think 6 or 7 foot yarn wall. Each cube is a foot. I don't have enough room on that wall for all of my yarn. There's yarn on the floor. There's yarn under my bed in all of the bed cubbies I have. There is yarn in a basket sitting next to me. There is yarn in all those cubes on the wall, the 1 foot by 1 foot. There is still yarn at my parents' place, because they're people who took me... Let me try that again. My parents took some of my stuff during the move to make it easier, and they've been slowly returning it to me. So every couple of weeks, I get more yarn in the house. I have too much yarn. And during all of this, I've still been buying yarn. And that's not practical. So, I am implementing to myself and to anybody else who wants to try this with me, a no-buy/low buy yarn challenge. It's gonna be pretty simple. I have my laptop next to me that has my rules for what I'm gonna follow on it. I'm just gonna walk you through it in hopes that you guys can kind of hold me accountable and so I can explain what is going on. So, my goals with this are that I want to be more true to being a conscientious crafter. Conscientious craft, for those who don't know, it's like a very niche thing that kind of formed on social media in 2021 and kind of was a blip and died off for a lot of people. It's part of the eco-friendly, eco-conscious movement. The essential gist is that you only get supplies for what you want to make. I did not word this the best, but the essential gist is you only get yarn for projects that you're going to complete after you've used all the yarn for projects you have and have completed all of them. That's the gist. I just want to clarify that. Back to you, past Fathom. And if you have excess things, you find a way to use them. I'm very good at if I have excess things, finding ways to use them. Most of this yarn in my stash is donations. I tell people, hey, I crochet. If you have any yarn of any kind you're not going to use, give it to me. I will either find a use for it or give it to someone who will have a use for it, because I have connections with all these crocheting people. And for the most part, it works well. Most of this yarn stash problem, I did not do on my own. Most of it is people have given me stuff. So, I want to be better about using the things I've been given. Not going to the store and being like, ooh, shiny, I want to work with this now. I want to actually use what I've been given. I want to not just do 2 of the 3 major R's when it comes to being eco-friendly. Because it's reduce, reuse, recycle. I'm good at recycling. I'm good at taking my yarn scraps, I use them as stuffing. I turn them into other bits and pieces, like my scrap yarn blanket that I'm going to make a video on eventually. I am good at reusing things. I'm good at taking the projects that haven't sold or that I've practiced with, I frog them, I reuse that yarn a lot of the time because I like the yarn in the first place. But I want to reduce. I want to be less overconsumptive. As Americans, we are massively overconsumptive. We are landfill making machines, and I am very aware of that. I'm aware I'm guilty of that, and I want to reduce that. And I could have been like, ooh, I'm gonna make this a fun aesthetic challenge and wait till like the first of the month. But no. The best time to plant a tree, or whatever the saying is, was 10 years ago. To make the change, to be less consumptive, was 10 years ago. If I can't do that, since I can't time travel, the best time is to start now. I want to have more space to utilize for other things. I am so tired of having to parkour to get to my bed every day, because I have this big thing of yarn storage that's overflowing. So the yarn storage and the floor are kind of covered in stuff. It's not like there's no floor you can see, but it's starting to get there. I have a king bed because I used to have, like, my partners, when I was polyamorous, they would regularly come stay with me, so I had a giant-ass bed for everybody to stay in. And so I was the host, and so my room doesn't have that much room because I'm also not in the master bedroom, if I understand. Which, yikes already. And I have my Etsy shop storage in that room. So I have a giant thing of shelves taking up a bunch of room on one side of the bed too. It is more of a sleeping chamber than an actual room, and I'd like to have some of my actual room back. I want to challenge myself to get more creative with the yarn I have. So, a lot of these donations, I have been blessed with, like, here's 50 bajillion Lion Brand mandala cakes in a bunch of different colors with multiples of each color. Awesome. I love how bright and colorful they are, and I want to use these yarns together to make bigger projects. But I shouldn't be limited to small projects just because I don't have a bunch of these yarns. Like, I have a bunch of odds and ends of acrylics people have given me. I have some random mohair yarn that I want to find use for. I have some of, like, that really ugly texture vintage yarn laying around. I have a lot of little odds and ends, and I would love to, instead of making really tiny projects and just, like, filing them away as trinkets and things, I want to make these big, unique art pieces. And if I stop buying new yarn, I'll have more space to challenge myself to make those things, which I think would be a lot more fun for both you and for me. So I want to be able to do that. I want to remove buying yarn from my current budget until this business is further on the ground, or further off the ground is the term, doy. I spend a lot on yarn. When I want to impulse purchase something, it's yarn. Most of my purchases, like, I have a thing for making popsicles on the way, and a hook, and some safety eyes. Safety eyes, I've been using them. I have a box of them I'm almost out of, so I need more. That's not an impulse buy. The hook, it is a size hook for a project pattern that I bought about, like, 6 months ago, that I've tried using another size hook. I can't use the alternative hook. I need the hook size in the pattern for it to fit right. I've been thinking about that decision for a while. That's not an impulse buy. The popsicle stuff. We don't have a working AC upstairs. It only works downstairs. It is too darn hot. And instead of buying freezer snacks like edible cookie dough or ice cream or popsicles, I'd rather get the popsicle makers and use the apple juice and grape juice and Kool-Aid stuff that I already buy to just add on to that. It's a lot cheaper. I can just make popsicles when I need them. That's not an impulse decision. That is me thinking budget-wise, what am I going to use more? But when I go to a craft store, I go, I can make something with this. I can make something with that. And I impulse buy things. And it's infuriating when I look back on it. I'm like, this felt really good. And then I look at my yarn wall when I go to put it away and I go, oh, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have just bought things and hope I can make something out of them. So, I'm not going to. I'm just going to make that a thing I don't do. I've kind of hinted at this last point number 5, for a bit. I'm just going to read it word for word and then elaborate what I'm saying. I want to get out of my overconsumptive habits, as refusing to glorify capitalistic wasteful tendencies is one of the biggest forms of rebellion I can demonstrate currently. This may be controversial, we're gonna see how this goes. I view myself as punk. I don't dress like a punk in like the stereotypical way. I don't have the all black, the leather jacket, the black pants with the tears in them, the patches all over. But I am very aligned with punk on a lot of the support your fellow man, we need to restructure the government, make your own clothing, and personalize it sort of ideals. I think the biggest forms of rebellion against the capitalistic system we live in are having your own self-identity and refusing to give in to these micro trends that they are trying to shill and sell us, and to sit and consume less. Consume less and just share. There is this like hierarchy of buying I've seen. Where it's a use what you have, make what you can out of what you have, like recycle it, reuse it, borrow from someone, buy thrifted, buy new. I have been doing a lot of those last three and the making. I'm bad at using what I already have. I constantly want to buy new things. I want to go to the thrift store and buy a bajillion pieces of clothing. I want to get video games and not play them, because I have over 100 video games on Steam and I've played maybe half of them. I want to sit and rebel against this. We've been sold it for too long, and we are killing our planet, and it saddens me. And I study a lot about it. I watch a lot of documentaries and read a lot about it in my free time. But because I'm knowledgeable on it, I get passive. I'm placated. I think, okay, cool, I'm doing good because I've learned about it. I don't want to just learn about it. I want to change what I'm doing. So, we're here. The plan is, with this, I'm going to stick to the set of rules I'm going to describe in a minute until the end of 2023 at minimum. By that, I mean, I may go longer. I'm going to do monthly check-ins with you guys, so I'm going to stick to that. It might be a stretch for me considering my impulsive habits when I enter a craft store, but I don't think it's an unreasonable goal to set. It would be most of September, most of October, most of November, most of December. I'm also going to, like I said, film the videos to tell you guys how it's going. If I fuck up, I want to tell you guys I fucked up. And if I don't, we can celebrate together. It'll be a wow, go me. So, now we gotta actually establish the rules. I was not happy when writing these rules, but that's kind of the point, is to learn to be happy with what I have instead of being like, oh, I want to buy more. So, I have the base rule, and I have a couple of exceptions to it. Rule number 1, I may not buy yarn at the craft store unless I am doing it to finish a project that is already in progress and I cannot find an alternative. Right now, I have about 15 works in progress. If any of them require yarn for the design I've already gone with and committed to, and I cannot find an alternative in my stash to try and make it work and still look nice, I may go finish that project. This does not apply to future projects. Like if I start a blanket knowing I only have one skein of yarn after this video, that is not a thing that I can be like, well, I guess I need more yarn. Yuck, yuck. No, that's not how it works. That was very aggressive of me. I'm sorry that I yelled at you. I'm being sassy with myself. this means that I cannot just go to the store and be like, I'm gonna get yarn for a new project. That's not allowed. No doing that. I have enough new projects. I have a bajillion new projects here. I don't need to buy any more yarn for new projects. The exceptions to this rule for how I get new yarn, it's not about buying new yarn, it's about getting new yarn. So I can't buy it. But if someone is at a store with me, let's say I go to the craft store with my mom because she wants to get stuff for decoupage because that's what she does now. Or I'm with my boyfriend and we are traveling and he's like, hey, don't you do that thing where you get yarn in every new place we go to? Which is a thing I do. And they offer to get the yarn for me. I am free to get yarn as I please on their budget. I cannot buy yarn that is not being paid for by somebody else. You may think, isn't that just a way to get people to buy you stuff? No, because I'm not going to ask for it. I don't go out of my way to be like, will you get this for me? It's usually I want to get this, it's not in my budget, so I'm going to scale down. And I'll be honest with them about that. And they go, just get the thing you want to get, I'll cover it. Which I really appreciate. I'm lucky to have people in my life who do that. If they do, that is yarn that I can get. Because when people have gotten me yarn in the past, typically I reach for it right away and make something right away because I want to show I'm grateful for the gift they've gotten me. So, if somebody else buys it, that's acceptable. If I have new yarn donations being offered, I am free to accept them. So if I meet somebody new, tell them, they're like, I have yarn from my grandma who died, I can accept that yarn. That is the basis of my brand. A lot of the projects I make are scrap yarn projects, but there are some projects I go out and buy stuff for. I'm going to try and shift to being mostly donated in scrap yarn. That is the basis of how I started. When I first started crafting, I want to recommit to that. So yarn donations, fair game. Finally, my final exception rules-wise. If I receive a custom commission order from a customer, then I am permitted to buy the yarn requested for the commission. So for example, I have made blankets and stuff like that. I've had like really pretty blankets made out of the Lion brand Mandala peacock yarn. And with that, I did not have that yarn in my stash. They wanted new yarn. Specifically, they said, I don't want you to use scrap yarn for this project. And they wanted that color. So we discussed, we budgeted, I did some math on the amount of yarn it should take, and we bought the yarn. They bought other yarn too, and they were like, yeah, of course, I want to support you, consider it a tip, which is appreciated. But I'm not going to accept tips in the form of yarn during this. I can buy the yarn for the commission, but I cannot buy additional yarn. Let's say I'm like $5 away from free shipping. Oh well, you're not getting yarn with that $5. Hooks, maybe. If I need more safety eyes, probably that. More stuffing, sure. No more yarn being used for this portion. I think that is everything on my sheet. But I find that I just want to do better. I know that's kind of the gist of this video, of a surprise, I'm making a change, come with me, pew pew pew. I don't want to just talk the talk of caring about the planet. I don't want to just watch the videos of other people explaining how they've changed the world and go, I did it. I want to actually do better. And I'm sure that you watching, have something or other that you overly consuming. Whether it's overflowing closets, whether it's way too much makeup. Maybe you're like me and you also have way too many board games, I say, glancing at my board game wall. Whatever it is, I challenge you to reframe your view of consumerism. What is your relationship to buying? Do you buy because you need something? Or do you buy because you want the dopamine rush of getting something that looks new and shiny that you kind of want? How long do you wait before you buy something? With most things in my life, like my board games, I wait a good 3 months about a board game title before I buy it. I will make sure that I like the idea of the game before I just grab and go. So even though I have way too many board games, since I don't get to see people a lot, I do have the board games that I want to have, and not the ones that were sold to me as trendy from the TikTok algorithm. Is that how you are with your massive amount of stuff? Or is a lot of it just sit there collecting dust and you're not even sure why you bought it? Same with the Steam video games I brought up earlier. I sell the badges I get from the games I do play and use that money to buy the new games, to reduce how much I'm spending on them. And they sit on my wish list for a long time, and I go in once a month and kind of cull the wish list and be like, cool, there's 200 games here from my discovery queue. How many of these do I actually remember? Let me knock them off. What is your vice? Do you want to try a no-buy/low buy challenge with me? Let me know in the comments. That could be cool. We can do it together. We can be buddies and hold each other accountable, maybe. I don't know what this is, but I'm doing it now. Ooh, get 'em. For now, thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to support me, you can subscribe, you can like, you can comment, you can share, or you can go visit my website or my Etsy down in the description below. I was gonna say something, but nothing came to mind. I'm gonna go ahead and go get to work for the day on this pile of yarn next to me. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.